something much deeper than that. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and and the source material is rich with these characters to begin with.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Is like it's not, as you said, it's not Kevin Feige's woke agenda to make a Disney movie and have like a Captain America be a black guy. So that's interesting. So that you got all of that, and I'm glad. I think you have to talk about that, right? Because if you don't, then it's you're missing out on like a big part of it. And I know that like we've talked about this when we did Black Panther, right? It's hard for these movies, I think, to really get deep down into the mud of the racial politics that
Hmm.
surround certain characters being in certain roles. So it's like, you know, we talked about this with Black Panther and the idea of like the CIA agent helping Wakanda, like
Hmm.
that thing, that was tension there. There's this tension and friction, obviously, with the idea of Captain America being a black man in America working with the president, and then the president is Thaddeus Ross, Thunderbolt Ross, who's like a notorious MCU jerk from the very first time that we've seen this dude. And now this person who's like really, I would say, villain adjacent throughout the
Hmm.
MCU now manages to get to a point where he becomes president of the United States. And that has all types of problems associated with it, also.
Art imitating life, if you will,
How about
um,
it?
which is kind of funny. Um, I think the fact that, first of all, shout out to Harrison Ford for being able to take ownership of this critical role. He
Yep.
made it his own, and I definitely liked his portrayal of Thaddeus Ross in this film. Um, I like the fact that he is a man who's conflicted. He understands and recognizes his past mistakes. And like a lot of us, some of us aren't prepared to own up to them in that particular moment. So we do the best that we can, yet trying to hide these secrets, but understanding that eventually they'll come to light.
Hmm.
So you have a man that is thrust into not only an inner conflict, but an external conflict as well. And the Red Hulk itself is a symbolic gesture of that, especially with him
How
being
about that?
depicted
Yeah,
as
good point.
red and
Hmm.
triggered by anger, and him fighting, literally fighting back the transformation. I mean, I think that's beautiful. The analogy, the symbolism, the imagery, all of that. I love it. I love the fact too that I definitely have to highlight this is that he's in a process where individuals won't let him live down who he was. Um,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
him taking the advice of others when they said like, "Hey, they told me to shave the mustache, otherwise I'd lose the election." It's a tongue-in-cheek type of thing, but again, it's indicative of his journey and his path and his character arc. And I think that also ties in with a lot of other things that go on with the movie itself.